forgot to make an intro, but we're watching to see if Alabama's in the college football playoff. So, let's see.
So you guys ready to do this? Let's do it. For the first time, the 11th year of a playoff, the first year of a 12-team playoff, the number one seed, and I don't think there's a lot of drama here. There's one team that is undefeated in college football, and the number one seed, the Oregon Ducks, champions of the Big Ten, 13-0, victorious over Penn State, and the Ducks, Dan Lanning, go in as the number one seed. The number two seed, also as expected, champions of the SEC, the Georgia Bulldogs. Find out about Carson Beck, who was hurt. Their backup Gunnar Stockton led them to victory in overtime against Texas yesterday to claim the SEC and get second seed and the second bye into the quarterfinals. Now, there are only two more byes, but a conference champion has to claim each of those two byes, and there are three candidates. Here are the resumes. Boise State from the Mountain West, Arizona State from the Big 12, Clemson, a surprise winner in the ACC, and not listed on Boise State's resume. It's what we talked about earlier. Their lone loss, a close game against Oregon. Who do you favor?
I favor Boise State, champions of the Mountain West, 12-1, and to be honest, their only loss on the road at Eugene. They had to get a couple of kickoffs to beat them. I think they should be above those other two.
I would be stunned if it's not Boise State, because Tuesday, when you talk about the gap between Boise State and where Arizona State was and where Clemson was, I'd be stunned if they were able to jump them.
I would go with Arizona State. I think they're playing their best football at the right time. Last two times out, absolutely dominating the competition. So I would go with the Sun Devils of Arizona State.
Oregon, Georgia, pretty easy. The third seed in the college football playoff will buy into the quarterfinals. Goes to Boise State.
Wow.
Strength of schedule overall in the 80s, right around 80, but Spencer Danielson's team, watch party there. Ashton Jeanty, Heisman Trophy candidate, and Boise State for years. They were the team that built their brand. They got in to those New Year's Six Bowls. They tried to slay the Giants. This is different. Now they're playing and competing for a national championship. Win, and they can take home the biggest prize. Now, one more bye in the quarterfinals remains. It will go to a conference champion, and we're down to Arizona State or Clemson. Who has the final bye? It's Arizona State. So Arizona State gets the bye. What a job Kenny Dillingham, the former Oregon offensive coordinator. Look at the potential in the semifinals of Oregon against Arizona State, and the Sun Devils celebrating a remarkable turnaround. Picked to finish dead last in the Big 12. Instead, they not only make the playoffs, they get a bye into the quarterfinals. And we'll tell you where these bowl games will be. You can probably figure it out. But we'll tell you where the bowl games are a little bit later on. And that's what quarterfinals will be, bowl games.
Just a tremendous report for winning a conference championship, too. Highlighting the opportunity to avoid the first round, make it to the second round automatically, and getting that first round bye.
But I do want to point out something. Conference championships have been rewarded, but what you have is number 1 and number 2 in the rankings for the bye, but you also have number 9 and number 12. So they're viewed by the committee as the 9th and 12th best teams, but instead, they're placed into the quarterfinals with a bye under this system. I think we have all said and pointed out, I hope this is a one-year deal. And after this, just seed the field. You know, you don't get the bye just by winning the conference. So there is one more automatic bid to go into this 12-team bracket. It will be Clemson. So let's see where Clemson is. Clemson, still ranked 16th. So the 16th ranked team in the country is seeded 12th. They got the lowest seed possible in the field.
Yeah, I don't think it matters to Clemson right now.
You know, just 2 weeks ago.
Come on now.
It doesn't matter where they go, it doesn't matter what they're seeded, they're in the top 12.
They're going to put us or SMU.
By winning conference championships automatically into the 12-team bracket. Now from here, you have to fill out the rest of the bracket. And remember, the teams seeded 5 through 8, wherever they are ranked, 5 through 8, that's a home game. So the 5th seed will play Clemson in the bracket and play them at home is the Texas Longhorns. Texas and Clemson in a first-round game in Austin. Winner gets Arizona State, and I would imagine that everybody would take that path right now.
That is a very coveted seed. That 5 seed, the opportunity to play the weakest team in the field, and then now
Oh my
up
God.
against a Big 12 team in the second round, first round bye. And the committee had Texas ahead of Penn State. They had them ahead of Notre Dame going into conference championship weekend. So, tough game, hard-fought game, losing in overtime. They stay in front of the 2 teams they were likely being measured against.
And here's a situation where the committee is valuing those 2 losses against Georgia, because if you look at Texas's best 2 wins against A&M and against Vanderbilt, so they're valuing those close losses.
And as we continue on with an SEC versus ACC motif throughout this reveal, Clemson 0-2 against SEC team, blown out by Georgia, lost to South Carolina, who is not going to be in the field. So Texas has a home game. They're the 5 seed. According to the rankings, who has the 6 seed? Penn State. So Happy Valley will host a first-round playoff game after James Franklin's team came up a little bit short against Oregon in the Big Ten championship game, and not an objectionable path for Penn State. We'll see who they play. Look at the Boise State foe in the quarterfinal. No disrespect to Boise. They can take that probably.
Yeah, really, Penn State, again,
This one?
losses for Penn State. Look at the resume, who they beat, not great. But they did play Ohio State, they did play Oregon, lost both those games. Those are the 2 losses. They come in as the 6th seed. I'm not arguing, but there will be people out there saying, who are those 11 wins against?
Okay, so you have 1 home game at Texas. You have 1 home game at Penn State. The 7th seed, the college football playoff. The Fighting Irish of Notre Dame, and on the chilly afternoon or evening in December, beneath the Golden Dome in the shadow of Touchdown Jesus to Word of Life mural. Oh, look, there's the Stormtrooper again. It's in South Bend. We want the Emerald City. Where's the pizza? Marcus Freeman, what a job they did. Notre Dame will have a home game as the 7th seed. Once we get to the 10, we'll find out their matchup. Now, 1 more home game left. And one thing I'm going to ask Will Manuel shortly when he joins us, how much consideration went into this? Because let's be honest, there's not a sliver of difference between whoever's going to be seeded 8 and 9, but one of them is going to get to play at home in the first round. The 8th seed final home game belongs to Ohio State. Coming off a disappointment last time they set foot on the shoe, but the Buckeyes will be at home, and they will have that weather advantage, Kurt, as Ryan Day and the Bucs will try to bounce back to the disappointment against Michigan.
After the way the Ohio State season ended against Michigan, I don't know if it would have been better for Ohio State to go on the road, to get away from their home crowd that'll be booing after their 3rd down, not converting, and the punter comes out, booing Ryan Day. They'll have to rally and have a good start to that game, or it could turn sideways with the home crowd, in my opinion.
And Ohio State's going to be at home, and if the Buckeyes can get past their opponent, who we'll see shortly, got the opportunity for the rematch against Oregon in what was just a great game in the regular season in Eugene. But as Kirk rightly pointed out, the Buckeyes have some things to overcome, given the way their season ended. So those are the teams that will be playing at home. Who has to go on the road and face Ohio State as the 9th seed? The Tennessee Volunteers, and they were really hoping that they were going to get a home game. Instead, they'll travel not too far away.
And in fact, they didn't get a home game out.
The 9 seed and number 7 in the country.
We know that Tennessee's going to run the football with them. So all things being equal, if you're Josh Heupel, you got to feel pretty good about going to Columbus.
Yeah, I think if you're Tennessee, you probably like the opportunity, you like the matchup. Every team you play is going to be tough. But the one area that Ohio
Come
State
on
is
now.
struggled with is along their own offensive line. What is the best part of Tennessee's team? Their defensive front. So I think that matchup will be fascinating to see if Ohio State's O-line
You cuss the toes off me, bro.
this first round game.
Reese, I think it's interesting.
Would we have to be
next game
in this game
winner
if
of
we
that
make
game,
it?
We were talking earlier about Texas and Clemson.
'Cause it's 11
Arizona State.
seed versus 6 seed.
Probably. We talked about that all year, that 5-hole. Look at Tennessee and Ohio State.
And then it'd be
They match
10
up with the
versus
winner of that game. That's pretty exciting to look at that game. Potential rematch with Oregon and Ohio State or Tennessee.
Unless
Get
they
a
put
shot to
us
take on
and
those
SMU
teams throughout the year.
in.
You know, it could
SMU is not ranked higher than Boise State, are they?
Is that what this way this bracket's unfolding?
Can you look at what rank SMU is?
Maybe it's 6. Okay, 8-9 game is Ohio State, Tennessee. The 7-10 matchup in South Bend. The Fighting Irish will take on in-state battle. Signetti wanted a home game. I don't think he had much of a case for a home game, but he doesn't have to travel too far. As the Hoosiers, what a remarkable season. They go on to take on the Irish.
You were talking about two different teams, Indiana and Notre Dame. Notre Dame with their run game, Riley Leonard also their run game. Jeremiah Love, the running back, going against an Indiana team that is, when you look at them, they want to throw the ball, they want to put in the air. Very good defense, but can hold up against the run of Notre Dame.
In-state battle. Don't see that one a lot over the years, you know. Now forced together by this new 12-team bracket, Notre Dame and Indiana. Winner gets Georgia in the quarterfinals. So one spot remaining. I think we pretty much know the two teams it comes down to. Does it come down to Alabama,
Oh my
which
God.
has some rough losses, or SMU, which really doesn't have anything that ugly on its resume, but they also
It looks like we're better on paper besides the record.
Punctuation mark of something that
Oh my
put them
gosh.
into the field. The key wins, the Louisville and Duke hit TCU, whereas Alabama has 3 teams on their ledger that will be ranked in the top 15 to 20 in these final rankings.
And I think the biggest gap right there is the key wins, and I think that's what Coach Saban was talking about. You look at the key wins for Alabama versus the key wins for SMU, being Louisville, Duke, Pitt, TCU, and there is a mile apart in having to go through those schedules.
I know that I'm dragging this up. I want to say this before we get to the end. There's no right answer here. But there are downsides to both answers. Because SMU played in the conference championship game. Alabama has a couple of ugly losses. But you got to choose one of them. And they're going to get criticism either way. To take on Penn State and the final spot in the college football playoff. Who is it? The
No.
SMU Mustangs hold
knew
on
it.
to that final spot.
Oh my
And then down
gosh.
Alabama. So it will be SMU and Penn State as the ACC gets the last 2 spots in terms of seeding, and they get the last at-large spot. And so now we'll do the first team out, which we all presume to be Alabama. Alabama is the first team out, and the second team out, I assume, will be Miami again.
Oh,
And it is.
dang.
So Miami and Alabama come up just short. SMU hangs on and gets the spot. And Nick, what's your reaction? Now,
Oh,
Nick has
man.
talked about this all year on College Game Day. That who do you college football? If you want to incentivize scheduling, then you have to take that into consideration. What's your reaction, Nick, to seeing the decision the committee made with that final spot?
Well, I think one of the things that I've mentioned, throughout this football season is if we don't take strength of schedule into consideration, is there any benefit to scheduling really good teams in the future? Here at Alabama.
Well, I'm gonna go cry myself to sleep, so deuces.